Okay, hello everyone and welcome in. My name's Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing my slow life hobbies in my 30s, we're making salsa. And then we're going to be canning it with Costco ingredients. Mostly Costco ingredients. Not 100% Costco ingredients, but mostly Costco ingredients. They're going to be providing the bulk of the tomatoes for today because, well, yeah, I didn't do a very great job of growing tomatoes this year. This year it's been weak up till this point. It has been getting better. Granted, I mean, it's funny because with the fun garage door, I can actually look outside and see I have a really good amount of tomatoes coming down the vine, but compared to previous years, like this year's been really weak for me. So I'm going to be so I was thinking because I actually noticed that my canned salsa from last year was running down. It was running low, and I was like, oh man, I'm running out of salsa. Oh, what do I do? Do I just run out or do something else? And then I was like, you know what? If I can find a reasonably affordable source of ingredients, a reasonably affordable source of ingredients, why not make salsa with those reasonable ingredients and go from there? So that's today's game plan. For those who pay attention to those doobly-doos down below, that's the recipe I'll be following for the most part. Granted, I'm not making any effort to follow it too judiciously because reasons, but also, well, granted, also I'm going to be generous with my servings. So for a little bit of perspective, there's some of my jars. I got some jars over there, but those are a bit of a reach. But yeah, my main, so this is a 1 quart mason jar. Ideally, I fill up 13 of these. 13 to 14. If you follow the recipe, you fill up 8. Well, no. If you follow the recipe down below, you get to fill 4 of these. 4 of these. So my main goal is to do, I am multiplying the recipe times 3, but I'm also going to be really generous with my tomatoes, and I'm also going to be a bit generous with the vinegar. So that way I hopefully get the level of stuff that I desire. So if you look at the recipe below, you'll see it calls for 9 cups of tomatoes. Peeled tomatoes. I don't exactly have a whole 9 cups of tomatoes. I have tomato sauce, which actually, Costco actually does sell cans of diced tomatoes. Costco sells canned tomatoes in 3 forms. They sell it in the sauce form, they sell it in paste form, and then they also sell it in diced form. I probably should have got the diced form, but I really like using tomato sauce for taco soup, which with things starting to get over to the more proper fall months, yeah, taco soup is going to be coming up on the menu more and more. So if I wanted to just buy a whole bunch of stuff and have ingredients laying around, it's this stuff. That's the stuff. So, I'm not going to ruin a fingernail. I refuse to ruin a fingernail. I refuse to ruin a fingernail over this, so. Woohoo! First little bit of sauce. And it just seems like a drop in the bucket because, well, this is the brew. So for those who are unfamiliar, this is my brew kettle. The brew kettle is very large. holds lots of stuff. And as a result, it holds lots of room, basically. Which is good when I'm brewing beer. It is a little bit less ideal. I shouldn't have done that, but whatever. But it's a little bit less ideal for what I'm doing today. But you know what? This is actually gonna. So today's actually gonna turn out a lot better than. Wait, what? Did my phone go off? No. Okay. For a second, I thought someone was trying to reach me, which I generally try to be available for like family and whatnot. Okay, so we got that. So this is actually going to be the main part of the beginning of the stream. Is honestly just getting sauce. Getting sauce into the pot because, well, this is one of our early bits of work to do. So I'm going to aim for... I think I'm going to be aiming for about essentially this whole box of sauce. So yeah. And then I think once I get the sauce going, then I'm going to worry about stuff like getting the actual other ingredients, which... boy, oh boy. The last time I did this, which was last year, which I do have salsa set aside for sampling. I do have some of last year's salsa. I also have some actual Kirkland brand salsa available for sampling for today. That's what this bag of chips here is for, but also to taste test the salsa as I make it. But yeah, for a long time, last year's salsa canning stream was the longest stream I did, just because of the fact that I did not do any ingredient prepping prior to stream, which was kind of a mistake and a thing I wanted to fix today. That was a big one to fix this because holy smokes, you don't... Because I am timesing 3 this recipe, and recipe calls for 2.5 cups of peppers and onions. Well, just standard like sweet bell peppers and onions. Let's see here. We'll do a little bit more of a rinse on that. A big reason for this rinse is because since I'm working with tomato sauce and not actual tomato juice, is I actually want to dilute this down a little bit to kind of get it to a bit closer to the consistency I want. But yeah, at least it's going to be a little bit more exciting with can cracking. I think can cracking is a little bit more exciting than cutting board action. Because I mean, the thing is like the cutting board, the extent of the cutting board action I had to engage in last time was like unreal. But yeah, I hope everyone out there is having a wonderful Saturday. I gotta say, for the most part, I've been having a really good Saturday. Granted, one of the small downsides of this Saturday has been the fact that I haven't had really much of any plans to go outside. I did go to the supermarket this morning because I needed can lids. Let's see. I have, there we go. I needed to buy another box of these guys for today. So I had to buy those, and I picked up a few other odds and ends at the grocery store. And that was like basically the only leaving the house I've done today. I've just taken care of various homestead chores since then, which is fine for the most part. For the most part. Other than the fact that I actually do enjoy leaving the house. I know there's probably a lot of VTubers, other content creators that probably don't like. Oh man. That's funny. Oh my gosh, that is downright hilarious. Okay. Oh. Granted, I didn't hear a snap out of that. Because I don't think this is meant to be open this way. That's meant to be open this way. Don't mean to be violent, but okay, so I got pasta sauce there. I've committed murder with my hands, which is kind of entertaining. Oh, okay. Tomatoey, salsy, good. Yeah. Well, I certainly hope this is the only can that this happens to. I really hope this is the only can this happens to, because oh my gosh, that was a mess. Granted, most of the mess actually got on stuff I really don't care about, so. And I mean, I don't care if I get a mess on my hands. Who cares about that? I'm gonna lick my wounds a little bit. I was hoping to have a little bit more water here. I'm not gonna worry about rinsing that entirely. Sure, we'll set you over there. Okay, so time for some green tea after that unnecessary bit of excitement. And also, speaking of unnecessary bit of excitement, let's grab some paper towels. I'm just gonna kind of clean myself up a little bit, because I did get a lot of sauce on me. Okay. Yay. Hands are clean. Well, let's continue what hopefully isn't exciting. Hopefully that was the peak of the excitement. Man, I've already got like a whole gallon of sauce and tomato. Then grab. Excuse me a moment. I need to grab watering container number 2, because first one got depleted with that last can. Woo! There we go. And I'm trying to keep most of my cans off to the side. because this is work surface, and work surface is like the most valuable thing in the world. So I really, really, really wish to maintain as much work surface as I possibly can. So I'm going to be maintain. Oh no. the sauce has assaulted the hand cam. I'll fix that here shortly. I'll grab a paper towel here in a bit. We'll get that fixed. Okay. Paper towel. And whoop! There we go. We're back with full view. Continuing to consume tea. Because I was consuming quite a few beers prior to stream. And certainly had enough to feel a little bit inebriated, which was exciting. It was certainly exciting. Okay. So I'm gonna hit this with a little bit more water. Just to get a little bit of extra stuff out of that. There we go. And stay. Stay. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Wowzers, we almost have like 2 gallons of salsa. Well, just 2 gallons of sauce. Which is good. Because I want there to be plenty of stuff. I'm also planning to cook the salsa for a period of time, so I'm really okay if what basically ends up happening is this ends up cooking down a fair bit. Because if it cooks down a fair bit, I'm really okay with that. That's good. That's fine. Because I want it to cook for a while, so that way I can get the flavors to meld together. Is my game plan. So I've finally got all my sauce added, and with that, I can turn on my propane tank, which should probably grab my handy dandy lighter. There's sauce over this. Oh god. There's sauce over everything. I suppose that's fine. Okay. I need to grab a bowl. The bowl's very important. The bowl's purpose is to serve as a home for my ladle. Actually, I need something that's... You know what? We'll use the cup. We'll use the cup as the home for the ladle. Ladle is going to be used to stir the salsa. I just need a place to park it on the workbench when I'm not using it. Is my goal. Okay. So. I spent a lot of work on this. But yeah, here it is. Onions. Copious amounts of onions. Which it's going to take a while for everything I have here to actually like boil up. But hey, doesn't mean I can't start actually adding ingredients to this and start to build my salsa. And then here, you mostly see like the orange and the yellow, but there's also, there's yellow, orange, and red sweet peppers in this. So this is also going to go into the salsa. And the tomato, the onions and peppers were like the hardest part last year, as far as like the amount of effort. And then here, now in here, I have the top is habanero peppers, store-bought, and then the bottom, the red and green, those are my Georgia flame peppers. So this is the heat. This is where the heat is going to come from. Give our salsa a little bit of a kick, because I do like it when salsa has a little bit of a kick to it. So I'm going to give. So this is the vast majority of the ingredients. And then we're going to just give this a really nice stir. Those peppers really bring some color to that. So far, so good. Okay, where do I want to go from here? Because I have a couple more ingredients to add, which I think I should be doing. I should be focusing on liquid ingredients. So let me grab, since I'm using that one for that, let me grab this guy here for my white vinegar. So let's get this bad boy cracked open. And I hope this doesn't smell bad. Woo! Yeah, it just smells like vinegar. Just smells like vinegar. And then for this, we're going to be doing 2 cups. And now vinegar is one of those ingredients I actually want to be a little bit generous with, because how I'm going to eventually can this is called water bath canning. And in water bath canning, you use lower temperatures than you would if you were to pressure can. If you were using a pressure canner, you would get higher temperatures, and therefore you get a more sterile mix. So we're going to just get all that mixed in. As we can see down here, we have a really watery, really good mix of stuff, and at nearly 2.5 gallons. So pretty good amount of it, which is nice. And now it's time for me to kill the remainder of my tea, because reasons. But yeah, last time I did this stream, I could not have imagined starting this soon. Or at least being this far along in the process. And I'm this far along in the process. And then as you can see, I have gotten tomato sauce over like literally everything. Sure. That's the thing with having tomato sauce over everything is everything's slippery. Probably should have put a bit more of an effort there to do something about that. Oh well. Okay, let's grab you. Then you. And then just grab, just take that and then throw it in there. And then for the tomato paste, we're just gonna kind of, I don't want it to be in like large pieces or like large chunks, but that's fine. But I do want to get into as reasonably sized chunks as I can. Okay, there we go. I miss you. What's shaking? Not a whole lot. Salsa time. Yes, Dad's Old Shop, you are correct. It is salsa time. It is time for copious amounts of salsa. Technically too much salsa. Oh yeah, I'm currently adding organic tomato paste. Kirkland brand. Ooh. But yeah, I've already got my tomato sauce. How much salsa are you making? So the recipe is down below, and I'm wanting to multiply the recipe by ×3. I'm hoping to get enough to fill. I want to fill at least 12 to 13 of these quart jars. That's the goal. I don't know if I'm going to be successful or not. But the aim is to make plenty of salsa. Because, well, I like salsa. Salsa is very near and dear to my heart. So for ×3 multiplication, I need 2 more jars of the tomato paste. So now we get into... Wait. Even too much salsa if you blend it smooth, basically. Well, actually, the thing is with like all the salsa is... The point is for it to become canned, so... So since we're canning salsa, it's like I can just afford to just make like gobs of it. Because this is salsa for later, not salsa for now. But yeah, normally I make salsa from homegrown tomatoes every year. Well, I've done it for 2 years. But this year, 2025, has been a very poor year of tomato growing for me. So I was like, man, I really wish I could... Because I actually noticed that my stockpile of salsa from last year... Your salsa for sale? Nah. This is for home eating, man. This is for my use only. Salsa is very near and dear to me. Back when I was a wee lad, when I got home from 6th grade, I would literally make... I'll get myself a small little bowl of salsa, and then I'll go downstairs into the basement, go to the TV, turn the TV on, and then I would watch Zoid's New Century 0, have my chips, have my salsa, and do homework. That was like my post-school routine for a good amount of time. Was chips and salsa after school. So salsa has always been like my... It's been a snack that's been very near and dear to me, and I feel like I should probably give this a really good stir now with all that tomato paste I added. But yeah, you can see we've got onions and peppers, all sorts of goodies. It's kind of a little bit on the liquidy side for what I personally prefer, but it's also got some really good chunkiness to it, which I did try to be pretty good with the dicing, because I did try to... I was pretty happy with how fine I got the dicing on the onions, but getting the peppers diced finally is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get the peppers diced like finely. Let's see. Yoink. And woohoo! Clean lid. Clean lid. Yay, yay, yay. And there we go. So let's continue working on getting the remainder of this tomato paste. So that way we can get this thickened up a little bit. Which I do have plenty of tomato paste, so if I want to be aggressive with my use of it, I can be aggressive with it. And then that brings me to like notes on the recipe. So this recipe is meant for water bath. I just slept when I got home from school. That sounds like someone who stayed up late. Sounds like those people who like stay up late. Whereas like me, I'm like, it's like even as a kid, like 10 p.m. rolls by and it's like, oh, it's bedtime. It's bedtime. I need to go to bed. It's late. I need to go to bed. And I will say, like 6th grade was a pretty good grade for the most part. There we go. It's reasonably clean. So I'm gonna grab my waters. I'm gonna hit it with some water. Some good stir action. Just to clean my can out, get it as much as I can of the. I love sleeping. I mean, I don't blame you for that. I mean, I actually make it a personal point on the weekends to sleep in. Granted, for me, sleeping in today, so for today, I made it a point to sleep in. And I was in bed, kind of just like, I'm kind of like waking up. I'm not really like woke up yet. But I was slowly starting to wake up. And then I was like doing my like stretching and being like, okay, okay, it's time to start tackling this day. And then my alarm goes off. Like right as I'm doing like my my getting up, like just my first stretch of the day. And I was like, you know what? That's actually reasonably good timing. That's reasonably good timing. Okay, water's gonna go there. I've got my personal water. It's definitely starting to smell like salsa around here, which gotta love the smell of this stuff, especially when it's cooking. That's definitely it's also a big reason why I like adding like hot peppers to salsa. Is I feel like it gives it more of an aroma versus other stuff. There's a pic of me like 15 years ago in a tattoo parlor after being awake for 34 hours. Sleep and me ain't homies. Oh my gosh. 34 hours. That is really impressive, Dad's old chop. I personally cannot see how you do that, but hey, you know what? Good on you. Good on you. So, I've got me here. Next ingredient I'm going to be playing with, and that is some good old kosher sea salt. Now, I think, what's my magic number? Magic number is 6 teaspoons, but that's 6 teaspoons at the standard recipe. I'm multiplying by 3. I have a tablespoon measure right here. So I think 3 teaspoons makes a tablespoon. I thought we were going to Chuck E. Cheese. It wasn't a good thing. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oof. So I'm going to be a little bit under on my salt here because my tomato sauce has salt in it. This recipe assumes that I did not have any salt going into this. So, seems like a good, reasonable bit of salt. We'll grab magic ladle. And as we can see, we're definitely getting a good... Whenever I get a little bit of that foaming, that's a really good sign that I have a good, reasonably good cook going. But yeah, we're nearly at 3 gallons of material. Not sure if I'll take it further than 3 gallons, but... Ooh, steamy. That's good. It's really good. I'm also going to be doing some taste testing at some point. And if I want to, like, adjust flavors or anything, I'll adjust flavors then. Let's see. So we've got tomato, we have pepper, we have onion, we've got our spicy peppers. Oh, garlic cloves. That's the next bit. Bada bang. And I'm out of and it's also time to have a beer. And since this is Costco, this is salsa made from Costco ingredients. What better beer to have with it than the best Costco beer there is? And because this is Costco, this is the only Costco beer there is. What's the best non-chip food for salsa? Ooh. Sir, you're making me think. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, so with the thing with salsa, if I don't use it as like a dip, I will also use it as like a sauce. And I do like using salsa as like a tomatoey sauce for like salads, especially if I don't want to, say I have like some tomatoes lying around and I don't want to go through the effort of dicing them. I'll just throw some salsa into the salad and that's like the tomatoey goodness. I make dumplings every year to hopefully last the whole season, but it usually only lasts 1 to 2 months at most. Yeah, my salsa actually lasts long because, well, on that note, we're not at that point yet, but we're going to get to that point. But yeah, I'm also a big fan of the Kirtland salsa. Kirtland salsa is pretty good stuff. And yeah, it's also a real nice, like, it's a real, like, nice, chunky restaurant style. Salsa is a new one. Dumplings sound good. But yeah, I will throw, like, salsa into, like, salads if I want to be lazy, if I don't want to, like, dice tomatoes. It's kind of one of my, like, lazy quote-unquote hacks. Dumplings are delicious in winter. Ooh. My answer is tostones with enchiladas as a close second. Ooh, man. Oh, man. Let's see here. I need a lot of garlic for this thing, which is actually good because I want to use this thing up. This thing has been a lot of garlic. And at one point I was like, oh, there's no way I can use up all of this. And then it's like, wait a second. This is actually a lot of garlic, and I'm one human being eating this garlic. Now, granted, I like garlic. Garlic is amazing. I think we'll do one more. And that's... Tostones might be good made on a blackstone. Ooh. Oh, no. Don't give me ideas, sir. Don't give me ideas. Like, sir, I'm a content creator. Now, granted, the Blackstone is actually going to come out later, eventually. But that's when so I'm planning a certain special stream for when I hit a milestone, and when I hit that milestone, I'm going to do that special stream. And part of that stream is I want to do some cooking with it. And the cooking is going to have to happen on the Blackstone. Oh wow, that's actually like really liquidy. But that does look good. How's it smell? Oh, it's a pot of happiness, but not this kind of happiness, because usually I'm making this type of happiness in this pot. I'm also using the brewing kettle because I don't have many other large kettles. I have another one that's aluminum, but unfortunately that aluminum kettle has had way too many turkeys fried in it. And if I were to cook anything in it, it would taste like turkey and peanut oil, which would be undesirable characteristics for a salsa. Whereas I can just cook in this, and I'll actually get like something that's like reasonably good. Otherwise, I would not be getting something good. Okay, so getting some good bubbling. We're coming up on temperature. Now there is one ingredient I will add later, and that's cumin. I do like to add cumin to my salsa just because it's good in salsa. Ooh, boil's happening. Nice. Nice. Today's not going to take forever. Today's not going to take forever. That's good. But yeah, last year's salsa making stream was, for a long time, the longest stream I did on the channel, which I think it approached like 4.5 hours. Like, it was about as long, it was ever so slightly longer than the brewing stream. And that was mostly due to the fact that I didn't have the peppers and the onions cut up. Okay. Okay, sweet. I have a supply of chips now. The supply of chips is very important. Okay, and then we'll give this a good stir. Just to make sure. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to want this to cook for a little while. Just to get all the flavors to meld together, all that good stuff. But I also should be cutting it down a little bit. Isn't it funny? Salsa just means sauce. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a unique type of sauce. Okay, I have this jar, but I need other glass jars because, well, you can't. Well, here's the thing: you cannot not have a beer with a beer brewing stream, and I cannot not have salsa with a salsa making stream. So this is actually last year's salsa. Bit of a view. We'll get a little bit of this poured out. But as you can see, it's got some peppers. It's got some seeds. Pretty neutral on flavor. Well, like smell. I haven't tasted it yet. Granted, I don't want too much of a roaring boil. I just need like a slight cook out of you, buddy. Let's see here. Turn that down a little bit more. And then we'll get... Let's see. Make sure we get some good incorporation. Nope. But yeah. Let's have last year's salsa. Good tomato flavor. Now, some people are, when they make salsa, they don't like adding the a lot of vinegar to it because I don't want it to be vinegary. But at least with the salsa I've made using this recipe, the vinegar factor is very mild. I like that tequila red salsa with charred veg. That's good. Ooh, I like the sound of that. But yeah, also the fun thing with this is these are peppers I grew last year. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things about like canned food, is that it's like food preserved for another day. Which is kind of the reason why I like this. Also, I feel like this is one of the more like homesteady things I do. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff I do is homesteady, but I feel like this is particularly so. Especially once we get into like the canning part of it. But for now, we're cooking ingredients in a massive pot. Sad thing is I really need another pot because I don't mind using this pot for salsa, but oh boy, do I have to clean that. There's a lot of cleaning that needs to happen before I can use that for a beer later. But yeah, salsa. One of many things that make me happy. But yeah. So earlier I mentioned I'm going to be preserving this with water bath canning. Water bath canning doesn't use like steam pressure to do the sterilizing of the salsa in the jars. Basically cover the jars. Well, you put the jars in water, covered with water, and then you boil it for like a half hour. That's water bath canning. That's why it's called water bath canning. You just stick your jars in the bath for like a half hour. I do water bath canning with salsa because one, it's easy. Two, salsa has a pretty high pH. So for this recipe, it calls for 1 cup of white vinegar, and multiplied it by 3, but I used 4 cups of white vinegar. I was a little extra with the vinegar. I'm willing to be extra with the vinegar because, one, I was kind of a little extra with my onions and peppers. And onions and peppers have a reasonably neutral pH. And the thing is, salsa, tomatoes, the tomato paste, those ingredients have a higher pH. Well, more acidic pH. Technically a lower pH. I think most tomatoes are like a 4 point something, and then honestly vinegar should have a pH roundabout in that ballpark. So low pH is good for preserving food, and that's how I'm able to get away with water bath canning for this. If I was making green beans, those are better done as pressure cooker style canning. But for this, for salsa, with the pH I'm going for, I can water bath and it's all good. Let's take a break every once in a while, give it a good stir. As you can see, kicking up a whole lot of steam off this bad boy. And my boil is also starting to slow down, which is good. I don't want a vigorous boil. I just want like a good cook. I just want to cook everything and get all the flavors to come together. But yeah. The contents of this jar were fresh ingredients 1 year ago. Great, I'm curious. Did I do the salsa like... I'm curious as to how close I am to the 1 year mark. Ooh, it's been a year, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna do something. And yeah. And... So, this salsa here was made on September 14th, 2024. And this is the real reason to be a VTuber and stream your hobbies, is if you want to be like, hey, when did I make that? When did I make this salsa? And then you can just look it up because of VODs. The silly things I can do. Good stuff. Good stuff. Man, it looks good. Smells good too. Okay. And since that's just gotta cook, I'm just gonna eat. I mean, that's the best thing about like streaming your hobbies, is that you have records to go back on. You can be a true, proper man and be, what are notes? I don't need notes. I'm a man. I can just do it. And then you get into the doing, and then you're realizing, what was I doing again? Granted, I really like the salsa for how mellow it is. It's pretty mellow. It's not super hot. Now, I do have... So for this year, I did add habanero peppers. Because I did buy a bag of habanero peppers. This had 6 in it. I diced them all up, threw them in the pot, which habanero peppers have a really good spice level to them, I think. Like, it's high, but also the flavor's good. Like, the actual, like, flavor of a habanero is, like, really good, in my opinion. But the thing is like, I don't bother growing habaneros because this is, like, the only time I could possibly be bothered to consume habanero peppers. Isn't something like this. Nope. Where I have a really large amount of, like, food, and that gives a lot of room for all that spiciness to move out. Habanero getting fancy. Serrano is traditional spicy pepper and red salsa. Habaneros have a good fruity taste. Yeah, like, habaneros just have, like, a nice, like, flavor to them. I did also use a mix. I did also add a good amount of my Georgia Flame peppers, which they're called Georgia Flame because the variety was developed in the nation state of Georgia off the Black Sea. That Georgia, not not Southeast America, Georgia. Which I really like the Georgia Flame variety because it has a good kick of spice, but it's not like super strong. It's definitely less than what a habanero is, but the depth of flavor is like incredible, absolutely incredible. I love taking like 2 Georgia Flame peppers, dicing them up, and then throwing that on like a standard size large pizza. Oh, that makes me happy. I definitely like having those on a pizza. Pizza is one of my favorite uses of them. Which, if I'm also being honest, I'm not necessarily I'm not into super spicy food. I like a little bit of spice, but not like a lot of spice. And to give you all a bit of an idea of what I like in terms of spice levels, Tabasco sauce is perfect. Standard, regular Tabasco sauce is amazing in my book because it's like, it's spicy enough to give me it's spicy enough to have a little bit of a kick to it, but it's also not like overwhelmingly spicy for me. Woohoo! Look at those vapors go. Granted, I don't have any roaring boils or anything. Tabasco good. Yeah, Tabasco's good. It's like a good bit of spice, but not too much spice. It's great. I like it. That's basically my own. Tabasco is my one and only go-to hot sauce. Because I don't need stupidly strong hot sauce, and I also don't. I mean, Tabasco just works. It works, and it works on so many things. Which, as someone who lives by himself, I have to be happy with my decisions. Well, I'm the only one who can consume my decisions. My go-to is Louisiana brand. Ooh. Is it just like Louisiana hot sauce? I love Medelia's ghost pepper sauce though. Ooh. So, I could probably try those if I went to like a restaurant that served them. But admittedly, I will not buy a bottle of them to try. Because the thing is with hot sauce, a little bit goes a long way. You don't need a lot of hot sauce to have a good time with it. Granted, that's true of any like good sauce. Is like a little bit of sauce goes a long way. Don't really have to get like crazy with it. Yeah, it's a thicker pepper sauce. Ooh, a thicker pepper sauce. Sounds good. Sounds real good. Now I'm trying to think of... Louisiana is a cheap sauce found at most places. Ooh, okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for that then. Because if it's found at most places, then it should be readily available. I mean, it should be. Oh, actually, I don't know. Granted, this is making me think. I need to go to more Cuban restaurants. So, where I live in the US is home to the second most amount of Cubans outside Cuba. Number 1 is Miami, Florida. Number 2 is Louisville, Kentucky. which, as for why Louisville, Kentucky is the place where the second most expat Cubans end up, I have no idea. But I feel like if I go to a Cuban restaurant, I will have like incredible selection of hot sauces. Also, I just haven't tried much Cuban food, which I'm sure it's good. And also, speaking of Cuba, Cuba is unfortunately one of the few countries in the world that actually has a robust oxen cattle breeding program because of the US embargo on Cuba. Cuba basically was like, we can't use tractors to haul plows, but we do still have some oxen laying around. So they basically introduced an emergency oxen breeding program to like build up their oxen so that way they can have oxen to plow fields. Maybe Cuban food actually isn't very spicy. Then honestly, that makes me more interested in trying it. Because there's like some food I try and I'm just like, whoa, way too spicy. Way too spicy. Because that's kind of like where I'm at on spice tolerance is like, if we say like 10 is ghost pepper, and then like 1 is like sweet pepper. Honestly, my happiness for spice is probably between 4 and 3 on that scale. Like, I like a little bit of spice, but I don't like a lot of spice. Okay, so this has been cooking for a little bit. Let's give it a try here. Still very watery though. Might have to add I'm gonna give it a good stirring. Get a nice good representative sample there. So here we go. There's our little I grew up with Thai folks. Give me 8s. Well, very impressive and good on you, sir. I grew up with standard white people in America. I don't have like the best tolerance. Okay. Definitely smells a little bit vinegary, which is to be expected because I was a little bit heavy on the vinegar. And the vinegar, like taste and smell, will also mellow with canning time. Actually, wait, yeah, give me some. No. Okay, so we got a little bit of pepper here. Oh wow, this is like warm. Oh. Oh wow. Okay, for one. Ooh. Okay, so one. Temperature wise, it's too hot. Well, like actual, like, because it's basically near boiling. It's a little too toasty. But man, spice level wise, I love it. Like, it's got a nice little bit of a kick to it. It makes me go, like, yeah, that makes me happy. Oh man. But yeah, it needs to cool down. To like really properly appreciate it. But otherwise, I'm very happy with it. I kind of wish my salsa was a little bit thicker. I'm kind of tempted to add a little bit more tomato paste to it, or maybe let it boil for a little bit longer. I think I might throw another thing of tomato paste at it. Just to get the consistency closer to like an actual like chunky restaurant salsa. So sorry about that. Where did my can opener? Hi, can opener. Hello, can opener. And then the cumin over there, that's gonna get added towards the end, which I probably should throw a little bit in that salsa. Okay. A little bit of sauce on it. There we go. That little bit of deliciousness in there, and then just keep adding dollops of paste to increase the tomatoiness, and also a little bit of kind of make it a little bit thicker. Let's see here. And get that. Okay, that is the thing with the tomato sauce. Well, the tomato paste is very difficult to get out of the There we go. Got the reasonable amount out. And then it was just a little bit of water. Some swirling. Get all that pasty goodness in there. And then after that, grab our magic stir. We'll give it a nice good stir. Mostly because I want to get it nice and incorporated. Wow. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to take a little bit of my cumin. There we go. Just like a little bit in there. And get my hands on a chip. We'll get that stirred in. And then we'll give this a taste. Good stuff, good stuff. Oh man. I'm gonna be a happy VTuber by the end of the stream. A plus. A plus. Whoa. Okay. So, I think I'm going to let this continue to cook. It's at a reasonably good level. And I'm 1 hour into stream. So, think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a bathroom break, hit the little homesteader's room, and I'll be back after a few. Okay, I am back, and I gotta say, stepping out of the shop and then back into the shop again smelled absolutely amazing. It's definitely easy to like not super appreciate the smell of the salsa. When I'm basically standing over the pot like right now. But man, oh man, does it smell good. Okay. Also wanted to turn it up a little bit because it was a little hard to hear it, because I can usually hear the flame even if it's like really weak. And yeah, my tank of propane's getting low. So I'm not sure when I'm going to run out of propane in my tank, and I'm going to have to switch tanks out. Might be today, it might not be. I don't know. We will see. In the meantime, salsa is going to continue to cook, and I'm going to continue to enjoy salsa. Because that's what I want to do. Because this makes me happy. Man, so good. Who would think that like what is basically amounts to a cooked tomato sauce would be so delicious? So this is the batch I'm cooking right now, and my gosh, it's so good. So incredibly good. I love it. It's so incredibly good, and I'm so incredible. Oh no, getting chips stuck in the throat. I'm out of beer. I'm gonna fix that. with Oktoberfest from Sierra Nevada. Personal favorite brewery of mine. So, cheers. Ah, oh man, that's tasty. I do like the fact that it kind of cooled down and now it's kind of just doing its own thing. But doesn't really give me a whole lot to talk about. Which, granted, I was meaning at some point to take a picture of my tomatoes and send it. Let's see here. We'll do that number. Now we'll see. Oh. My phone says I have it. Do you think you can buffalo chicken or crab dip? I mean, honestly, probably not either. Because honestly, when I think of buffalo dip, I think, well, buffalo chicken. I'm not a fan of the taste of chicken, nor am I, like, I genuinely dislike seafood. Like, I don't like to say that I am, like, an outright disliker of a class of food, but when it comes to seafood, I can definitely say I am not a fan of seafood. Okay, chat. There's about to be a big picture on the screen. And there's a big picture. It's very zoomed in. Actually, wait a second. I can do the shortcut for this. Yeah, there we go. I shortcutted it. But yeah. So this is usually how well I'm, like, rolling in tomatoes. Like, tons of tomatoes. The sugi of today doesn't... Sir, I'm not to be a man who disappoints, but man, my aversion to seafood has been for the better part of my life. And also, I have a friend who would get wings from Wingstop occasionally when I would go, like, hang out with my friends in Lexington. And God, did I hate the smell of those wings. Like the smell of buffalo chicken wings genuinely makes me want to punch people. I hate that smell. I hate that smell intensely. But yeah, like the me of right now does. So, let's see. I'm pretty sure the only thing I like from the sea is seaweed. My wife hated it for 30 plus years. Realized last year she liked shrimp. Thank goodness I'm hopeless. Cheers to that. But yeah, this is normally the amount of, like, tomatoes I usually roll in, which I think that was from August last year. Phone, help me out. No, this photo was taken in July of last year, like late July last year, and I have harvested probably I actually harvested quite a couple of tomatoes this year. Not this year, but this morning, because I did a little bit of harvesting this morning. Like I've only harvested over the entire course of this year 20 tomatoes. That is to this point in September. This here was what I was dealing with July of last year. Like, yeah, because it was July 22nd I took the picture. So it's like, this was like how many tomatoes I was like rolling in like 2 months ago last year. 14 months ago to this day. Normally, I am like rolling in tomatoes. This year, I have not been rolling in tomatoes, which is why I'm actually using Costco, which is why I'm using Costco sauce and also tomato paste to make up the difference. But yeah, that's just to help give you guys a little bit of perspective. And I typically don't grow a lot of tomato plants because, well, that's more than what I can eat. That's off like 10 tomato plants, roundabouts. I think 10 is what I usually go for. I actually had let's see here, delete. Yes, we're gonna delete that, and so I'm gonna just yap about garden stuff because I've got time to kill while I let this boil, because I want this to boil down too. So that way it can be a little bit thicker. And then we'll send that photo to the magic email address, and then I just wait for it to send through, because this is just how I send photos to myself when I do streams. Oh, there it is. Download. It's over there. Okay. So, once again, I'm going to be hitting you all with a whole of a lot of photo. But right now, this is what essentially is the garage garden project. So, this is the garage garden project that I planted like a few months ago. As you can see, lots of lettuce, doing really well, which I'm actually really surprised by, because it's been getting awfully warm where I'm at. But lettuce is doing fine, it's doing great. As you can see, it is not bolting. It's doing all the things it needs to do, and it's great. It's wonderful. And I've also got some reasonably healthy tomato plants in it. And this looks to be after I pulled so I had a whole bunch of volunteer tomatoes out of this, and I pulled those out. And I pulled them out and I threw them in the garden. So technically speaking, right now, I have more tomato plants in the ground than I have had at any other point in the entirety of growing stuff at my house. I am like tomato maxing hardcore right now as far as like number of plants. But that's just because the season's been so weak that I'm making a very concerted effort to keep production going. Let's see. I'm gonna let this cook for probably about another 5 minutes or so. And then, which actually, go ahead and hit it with a good little bit of the good old cumin. Which actually I could just let this sit. Open up. There we go. Good old bit of spiciness to it. All good stuff. It's also going to make it smell more amazing. Tomato maxing, that's... Yes! Yes! I'm currently trying to tomato max. I am not being good at it, but at least as far as oh hey, look, I have these volunteer tomato plants where I don't want them, and I need to stick them somewhere else. You know what? Let's stick them in other parts of the garden. They're donezo, like the parts of the garden where I had peas growing earlier. And let's do some good old-fashioned tomato maxing. Just grow as many tomatoes as I possibly can, because the way things are going, I don't have long till the first frost, which sucks because it's gonna be 90 degrees today. And I don't like that. Did my... Nope. I still have flame. Okay, good. Okay, I need to grab things. So I'm gonna grab the gloves of fire safety. I'm gonna set these on a table off to the side, because eventually, once I pull this pot out of the way, it's gonna go from being the main show to a side show. Because eventually we're gonna actually get to the actual canning process. And once again, I'm reminded of the fact that I threw a really hot pot on a goat skin glove and it shrunk the glove. Things that make me sad. Ruining gloves. Other one's fine though, which... Of course I had to ruin the left glove. For those who must know, I am a left-handed person, so... Of course I had to ruin the glove that is the most needed. Ugh. Okay. I also have sanitizing solution from the last time I brewed beer. Did I do that on the stream? No, yeah, I did. I was brewing pale ale with hops. Yeah, but I've got some sanitizing solution here. I'm going to send all my glass jars. They're going to take a dip in that before I start filling them. And that's going to help kind of like really clean them out. Okay, cool. So I am done cooking the salsa. Thank you for your service. We're going to go there. And as you can very vaguely see, there's some little propane flames down there. And then here, that is my canner. Well, technically that's actually the bottom of the pressure canner, but that's actually meant to like hold cans. So I want these jars. I want to start with these jars. Sorry to get a little too personal with the camera. But let's see here. I need to figure out a method to my madness. And a method to my madness I will eventually figure out. Okay, here we go. So I actually have two styles of cans. I have some cans that take wide mouth lids, and then I have some that take like the regular size lids. Make a little bit of rooms because I need room. That's the thing when you do streams of this nature, is you're just constantly starved for room if you end up getting into this stuff. Is that you get starved for room constantly. Okay, so I'm going to turn up the heat on that. And then this is a canning funnel. So if I grab my glass jar, take my funnel. This is a regular size lid, kind of on the smaller side. And this funnel fits in there and it kind of helps me have less mess. Really good tool. Really good tool to have. I just dip my jars for a little bit of a bath. This is because my jars are reasonably clean. This is a no rinse contact sanitizing solution, which is a bunch of fancy words that essentially means it doesn't really, I don't have to rinse. I can just fill. So, fill I will. And we're not talking about you, Phil, from accounting. But don't worry, Phil from accounting. We like you more than Phil from HR. But that's just because no one likes anyone from HR. Okay. But yeah, sorry I can't really show the filling of the jar part because, well, if I did, it would be awkward. And this is an awkward enough process as is. And I don't want to make it any more so. Okay, so this jar is nearly full. Okay. Hot diggity dog. Good job, me. So, there's my jar. Full of very wonderfully warm salsa. Has a lid on it. And I need to grab rings. Probably should grab a few rings. I'll grab a few rings here. And that's the thing with the salsa being as warm as it is. It makes it really hard to. Where did my gloves go? I could use some glove. Okay, glove. There we go. Get that nice and tight. And then, here we go. Hot diggity dog. So, I have my can grabber. So this allows me to safely handle cans. Now, I'm gonna want my water level to cover the cans. But, I have a lot more cans to fill. And yeah. As I fill my cans, they're going to increase the volume taken up, and there's going to be less and less room. Man, this stuff smells amazing. I love it. And just a hair bit more for this. There we go. This will go down there. Grab a lid. Grab a retention ring. Get the retention ring nice and tight. And then as you can see, the water level goes up a little bit more. And it's basically a rinse and repeat from this point. This is canning. It is a simple but tedious process. Let's see, can I get a little bit more in here? There we go. Set that there. Set you there. And then this is a wide. There's no wide. I don't have any wide rings there. I need a wide ring. Most of my mason jars are standard ring size. so I don't have too many wide rings. But yeah, the eventual aim is to have all this covered. We're not there yet. Wait, where did those jars go? Right underneath. My nose. That's where they went. That's where they went, but that's fine. Let's see, we'll do these in batches. There we go. That will help sanitize them. So I can have some cans laying there. Some cans I've already sanitized. So that way, all I can do, add my little funnel. And starts also scooping. Which really do not underestimate the power of the funnel. The funnel makes this process so much easier. So if you're ever wanting to get into like canning your own like salsa and such, by all means invest in the funnel. It is money well spent. Makes it so much easier to like control mess and such. Ooh, nice. Wonderful. Lovely, 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 lovely. So we'll add our little lid. And let go of it. Funnels are power. Yes. Yes. I see you also understand the power of funnels. And you know what? You don't strike me as a Gundam guy, so you really understand the power of funnels. Which there's a joke there, and the joke is funnels are a thing in the Gundam universe that's like stupidly powerful. Well, I don't know, maybe stupid, but it's like if a Gundam's fighting another Gundam and one Gundam has funnels and the other Gundam doesn't have funnels, the Gundam without funnels is going to have a bad time. Which funnels in Mecha series are, in a way, like drones. I love Gundam. I will fight you. I mean, Gundam's good stuff. I like Gundam too. I grew up on Gundam. Now, granted, I grew up on Wing and G Gundam. I need to get that out of my hand. The jars are hot. Jars are very hot. Oh dear. Jars are so hot. Okay, get that nice and tight. And I don't. So the water level is now getting up to the level of the lids. But yes, good to see we have another Gundam Enjoy. I am a UC snob, although I recommend IBO for newcomers. IBO... Iron Blood Orphans, yes. What? Okay, but yeah, IBO is definitely... IBO is like one of the few newer Gundams I've actually seen. Granted, UC, is that a unicorn? I think UC is unicorn. Now, I have not seen a great deal of Gundam. So, and it's for those reasons I don't call myself a big Gundam fan. But the Gundam is good, though. Okay, I need a little bit more salsa in you. Yep, that's good. The writer for IBO is great. Mari Okada. Ah! Yup. Out of hand. UC is Mobile Suit Gundam. Oh! Is Mobile Suit Gundam 1979, Gundam ZZ, 0038, MS8 Team, Unicorn Gundam tabletop game comes out this. Oh no, you're gonna love. You very much strike me as the type of person who's gonna love the Gundam tabletop game. Now, as for me, that's probably not meant for me. And okay, great, awesome. So, water level is just at the level of the can tops, which is about where I want it because I've got room for one more can. I have room for one more can, which, wowzers! I should be able to can this batch. It's also in 2 baths. Granted, I do need to grab a regular lid for this guy. And then I'm also going to have to make for some room. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. I am holding a thing that's very incredibly hot. Ha! Let go. Oh, we'll see how the rules are. I might just like the minis. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's definitely nothing wrong with liking what you like. Take that. It goes off to... Oh, no. This is a terrible circumstance. In terrible circumstances, I've sealed myself off from my source of beer. Okay. So the water level's getting really close to the top, to where it needs to be, but hey, you know what? And with this, bada bang, bada bang, bada boom. That's what we want. We want a little bit of water, which I'm going to just add a little bit more water to that. But we do want a nice, good little sheet of water over the top of our cans. And now that, well, once I get an actual, like, good, proper boil, this will take like a half hour. It takes a half hour at that point, which is a little ways away. But yeah, welcome to Canning Chat. This is why this is definitely like an old lady activity. Because like this just takes a long period of time and you need high levels of patience for it. Come here, you. I have room for you elsewhere. But it is a rewarding activity because, hey, I can preserve crops. I can take, well, the onions and the peppers needed to be preserved, but the tomatoes didn't need to be preserved, and normally the reason why I make salsa is to preserve tomatoes. So in the way, there could be a really big theme. There could be a good theme here for why is this guy doing this nonsense? And the theme is, I'm doing it for the fun of it. I'm doing it for the fun of the activity versus the actual, like, actual effective results, if you will. That was last year's salsa. Here's this year's. So let's get a nice little sample. A little bit more than a nice sample. So this is really good. I'm not sure how well as it seasons if it's just fresh bias, because when salsa's fresh, it's really good. Okay. Let's see here. I need to... I need to make a memo. Yay! Freedom. Okay. So... 5448 is when this started boiling. So at 6:18, this will be done. Granted, I will have to do a BRB screen at some point because I will need to. Because I gotta prepare an area here for my cans to go when I get to that point. I'm not at that point yet, but eventually cans need to go fit over there as I take them out as they get done. But yeah, this is canning, which is basically just chillaxing in your shop, garage, kitchen, normally kitchen, but I can't be bothered to be normal, and just executing a process. Like, it's not a hard thing to do. And that's kind of like one of the points of like why I do this, is to kind of showcase and be like, hey, like, this stuff isn't like hard. It's not like complicated. Like, anyone can do this. Like, if this silly Billy of a VTuber can do canning, well, guess what? You can too. I believe in you. And I believe in you more than my ability to do what I've got to do tomorrow. Ow. It's so good. My gosh, I love it. The salsa's amazing. Wait a second. There's 1, 2. Wait. Wait. Hmm? Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Uh-oh. Ah! Good. I needed to find this box. That box is very important. I went to the grocer to get that box. But yeah, I am down to my like last 2 lids of the standard mouth things, and I do need an extra box to finish canning out the rest of the salsa I have, because right now, of the jars I'm utilizing, only 1 takes the wide mouths. And in my reserve, nothing takes wide mouths. Absolutely nothing takes a wide mouth. Granted, it's weird, because all my pint mason jars, they will take a wide mouth. Whereas for my quartz, it's unusual for them to take a wide mouth. And I don't know why. I don't know why it's like that. I really don't know. I kind of wish I knew. But you know what? It is what it is, you know? And that's all good. It's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. I mean, I do like watching all this like bubble and do its thing and be like, oh boy. This is preserved food. Made by yours truly. And yeah, I don't think a lot of VTubers make preserved food. So that makes me a rarity. Which I'm okay with. I'm really okay with it. But I do also really like doing the I don't know. I gotta yammer for a bit, so beer's gonna be my friend during this time. Speaking of which, yeah. Let's see. Oh, back to you. Sure, we'll go back to you. So, time for good old Costco beer. You've got the VTuber getting market cornered. Yeah, probably. I need to look into that. I mean, I know I have the VTuber campfire cooking market cornered. Because as far as I know, there's only been one other VTuber who has even done a campfire cooking stream. But that's to my knowledge. I have done a little bit of research as far as the YouTube side of things. And it's a bit easier to research that side because, hey, guess what? If I do a YouTube stream, I automatically have a VOD I can search later. The silly billies on Twitch, well, they don't have that access. But, yeah, I never saw it before. Well, thank you. I mean, and the thing is, at the end of the day, my personal biggest motivation for doing this is I want to see VTubers do things that I'm interested in. And it's like very few people are canning, very few people are gardening, very few people are campfire cooking or woodworking, and it's like, man, I want a VTuber who makes me go, they're just like me for real. And I have to do that for myself. Which is fine, but also it's like, I get to be it makes me feel like I'm in this really weird class of VTubers, which is honestly I'm fine with. I'm more than fine with. Oh, you look so good. But since I got a little bit better of a boil going, I'll probably turn down the heat a little bit. Right? I want to learn things. My Oshi's still mint, but that's enough of that kind of content for me. Yeah. Like everyone has their Oshi and such, but also I feel like one of the big things with getting into VTubers is at first you find people who are more like mint, because those are usually the larger ones that you will find, and then you find those people, and then you're like, wow, this is VTubing. This is a thing. People do this. You can be a person and be anime. And then it's like, okay, well, where's the person who makes me go, they're just like me for real? And then you start looking for those people, which, for better or worse, for me, I think it's, as far as the largest VTubers, I think it's Ooze Lab is probably the closest, because he actually has. He did do a campfire stream this year. But that stream was him celebrating going full time on Twitch. And it was just like him around the campfire, cracking open some good old cold ones, and like that was the main. Like that's what. Like it was like, hey chat, I've hit a big milestone. Come celebrate with me. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not like, it's not themed under campfire cooking. Granted, he did do a stream last year where he was without power for multiple days. And he had to cook in his basement, and let's just say that stream was just as cursed as it sounds. Enjoyed watching it, but still very cursed. Oh man. But yeah, I feel like that's the reason why like people like you and me get into VTubing is like, okay, this is neat, this is fun, this is nice, but where are my people? Where are my people at? Well, he's wild. He's truly wild, and I genuinely love the guy for it. Like, he's a great guy. But yeah, like, well, the butt of that is like, he's very similar to what I want out of VTubing, but he's not exactly what I want out of VTubing. He's really close though. I really like his stuff. And I wish him all the best. Granted, I am very, very tempted. I don't want to say... I'm very tempted to do a style of stream that he's done. And what I mean by that is, I mean, hey chat, here's a project, let's build the project, let's use the project, and see what we get at the end of the day. I'm very tempted to do that. Because I have a stupid amount of sawdust laying around right now. And one of the greatest things I built as a wee lad, and referring to myself as a wee lad as like as the person who's, before I was an adult, was so when I was a wee lad, I made a sawdust fueled flamethrower, and it worked. It was simple, both in build and execution, but it worked. And I'm thinking about revisiting that and making like a more proper flamethrower, which is currently one of the more cursed ideas on my like stream backlog idea list. Mitt inspired me through her work effort. She really puts it all out there, and then she left her old company and inspired me to start to fill that gap. Yo, that's sick. It really is nothing really all that special, because really when I made that flamethrower, I literally made it based off my knowledge of dust explosions, and then figuring out what's the easiest way to make a dust explosion happen. And essentially what the build is I had a really long aluminum tube. Probably like an 8-foot long aluminum tube. I don't know if it was like conduit or something. And then 2 feet down, 2 feet down from the end of the tube, I made a cardboard plug, something to just be a stopper. That's all it needed to be. So I had a stopper 2 feet down this tube. So from that stopper up, I loaded up with sawdust. And then on the end of the tube, I took newspaper and just literally taped it to the tube. And then I lit the newspaper on fire. So if my tube's here, and if I'm at my fist, my tube is here, and I do this number with it fast enough, the centrifugal force sends the sawdust out of the tube. The burning newspaper ignites the sawdust, and then it's like, boosh! Dust explosion with sawdust. And yeah, that was one of the many things this guy got into when he was a youngster. Making dust explosions happen. And I'm thinking about revisiting it because, one, I salvaged the inducer from my old furnace, and I'm thinking about using that in the build. Now, there are 2 styles on how I want to make that build happen. Style 1 is I'll have the inducer, I will have an in port, and then I'll have an out port, and then on the out port I will have a hopper. The hopper will be the sawdust. So sawdust will fall out of the hopper into the airstream generated by the inducer, and then I will have like an igniter at the end, and then that ignites the sawdust as it's leaving. That's sick. We tried making thermite, but my buddy dropped it. So I've actually thought. So this was also during a period of my life where I knew enough about dangerous subjects to actually consider making thermite. But then I realized getting my grubby little hands on enough iron oxide to make thermite happen is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to make thermite. At least if you're trying to like use rusty nails to make it, or like any other readily available source of iron oxide. Aluminum oxide though is like, oh man, like boom, aluminum oxide attained, easy. All I have to do is take this, grind this up into a powder, bada bang, bada boom, aluminum oxide. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Getting your hands on enough rust, grinding it up into a fine powder, and then using that is a little bit more work. And then you have to mix the iron oxide and the aluminum oxide. For us, it was aluminum. We had to scrape. We had to scrape like 3 Etch-a-Sketchers. Oh man, that's funny. That's really funny. I like that. That's a good story. That's a really good story. Cracking open Etch-a-Sketchers that make thermite. Oh man. Granted, I didn't actually watch the stream, but Atropa Everwood, she did an ice fishing stream, and to make the hole in the lake that she was fishing in, she used thermite. Yeah, she didn't use enough thermite. Well, I mean, I actually saw like the post on social media afterwards where she was like, yeah, I didn't use enough thermite to make my ice fishing hole. And I was like, oh man. Thermite's one of those things you gotta go for overkill, not underkill. Granted, as someone who's used his streaming equipment in, let's say, questionable manners at time, I can definitely kind of understand the thought process of wanting to be restrained. We were teenagers, we didn't have tools. Our chem teacher let us weigh it on the school scales as long as we didn't miss our homework for 2 weeks. But yeah, Atropa does do weird stuff, but she does it very infrequently. Like, most of the time, she's just, like, doing, like, pretty standard stuff for the most part, maybe with, like, a little bit of a riff on it. But then she does really weird things, like October of last year, she did a stream where it was a woodworking stream where she was making some stuff on a lathe while wearing a maid outfit. And honestly, you had me at lathe. But yeah. Yeah, she's a VTuber I keep my eyes on kind of a little bit, just because, like, when she does really weird stuff, it's like, ooh, I want to watch it. And also, I have to keep an eye on the other crazy VTubers, because I need to make sure that I am crazy enough to at least be in the same crazy ballpark. Because it's one thing, like, how do I put this? Like, I don't want to be the craziest VTuber, but I want to be in that, like, top 10. Nah, let's be ambitious here. Top 5% of crazy. I want to be in the top 5% of crazy, which, considering I've think chat with a chainsaw twice, I think I'm pretty. I'm up there. I'm up there with that level of crazy. Could I use some work? Certainly. I am no stranger for needing improvement, but I got to keep an eye on what other crazy shenanigans other VTubers are doing. But granted, the thing is, me versus Slabman. Slabman has a mobile streaming setup, and I don't have that, so I'm a little bit constrained on that part. But it only takes a little bit of creativity to overcome that restriction, though. So I feel like I'm definitely competitive in the class that I wish to be competitive in. But yeah, she does really weird stuff sometimes, which is fun. Wow. And then for me, I'm canning salsa, which is weird in the sense that it is unique, but not like, it's not like a you buy weird thing. It's not like, oh, that's like maybe like a little spicy if things go wrong. Whereas, honestly, like the campfire cooking stuff, it actually has a lot more potential for stuff to go wrong. Granted, some things occasionally go wrong with those, but that's usually like poor execution on my part. Mint went to Antarctica to film for a music video, crazy lady. She also sent stuff to the edge of space for the same reason. Yeah, I did. I don't know if I saw the Antarctica music video, but I did see the Edge of Space thing, which Slabman did attempt to do the Edge of Space thing. That's definitely not... How do I say this? Those are crazy things, but those are also not like crazy things like I would be particularly interested. Rip melts his... Well, that's me getting a camera too close to fire. The reason Slabman could send chat to the edge of space was because, well, some stupid protocol, some software side thing, which is I get that. I really get that. Granted, I do have this GoPro camera, and it does offer me a fair amount of flexibility and capability, and I am definitely interested. I like them as like crazy ambitious. I don't really see either one of them as being like super crazy ambitious, but it's more like it is literally them. It's 6 p.m. on a Saturday. They're chilling at their house. They're just living their life. And then a dumb idea pops into their head, and it's like, hey, their brain just hands them and is like, hey, here is a dumb idea on the silver platter. And they're like, you know what, I dig it. And then they figure out what they need to do to make that crazy idea, which is also similar to how this guy thinks. Can I point at my head? Yeah, there we go. We're pointing at my head now. But yeah, that's kind of how I think. Because let's see here. Like, granted, I've made incredible progress towards this goal. Ooh, if I can stop belching because of alcohol consumption. But yeah, so one of my more slightly more ambitious ideas is, once I hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, I'm going to go camping in a tree. And I'm going to do it as a stream. It's actually going to be a 2-part stream. So the tree camping stream is going to feature 2 parts. Part 1 is going to be more of an evening style stream. Probably be a little bit later than this, but roughly same time-ish. I mean, honestly, it'll probably start by the time it is now, but whatever. But yeah, I will go camping in a tree. That's the thing I want to do. Now I don't hear flame from this. Do I have flame from this? Did I lose flame? No, I did not. Well, actually, wait a second. I hear fuel. And yep, I hear flame. Okay. I'm a little bit concerned because of how low because I know my tank's getting low, and I gotta be worried about that. But yeah, we're gonna be doing tree camping. But I gotta hit 100. I gotta hit 100 subscribers for that, so that's probably gonna take a while. But hopefully, I hit it during the fall months. Because, yeah, I don't want to do that. Well, most importantly, I don't want to do it as like a summer thing. I really don't want to do it as a summer thing. If I did it as a summer thing, it would be way too hot. If I did it today would be too hot. But yeah, that's currently the upper boundary of ideas. Sleeping in trees is scary. I did as a kid. Freaking too stupid. Well, here's the thing. So this is tree camping. I'm gonna have a full-on tent. I'm going to build a platform large enough to set a tent on and then sleep in the tent. And then the tent is basically my restriction, if you will. The thing that keeps me from falling out of the tree. But yeah, that's kind of like the game plan, is like build platform, set tent on platform, and then be like, okay, chat, we're gonna go camping in a tree. But yeah, that's the general gist of it. Is yeah, the tent's gonna be my limiter in the sense of keeping me from falling out of the tree. And this is based. So my inspiration for this is based off a gentleman by the name of Beau Miles. He is an Australian. He does documentaries on like on things that are they're very like mundane things, but he's also an absolute unit of a storyteller. Very big inspiration to me in that regard. But yeah, he's really great on that. Not just raw dogging it on the branch. Nah, I can't raw dog it. The issue with raw dogging it on a branch is I can't. It makes it really hard for me to set up streaming equipment. And also, I just don't want to put myself... Like, I have mentioned it... Well, actually, granted, do I have space for what I wish to do now? Yes, I do have just the most bare minimal amounts of space to do what I wish to do. So, I do not wish to interact with the American healthcare system if I can avoid it. If I can avoid it, I do not wish to interact with the American healthcare system. Now, this brings me to my current thingamabob here. 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 Come here, you silly box. Okay, so here is a box. It's relatively unnecessarily large from your perspective. This Amazon box. I heard a pop and it was the flames going out on that. That tank might be done. Okay, so this Amazon box. This Amazon box is the box that I put my keyboard on. Because my bench is as low as it is, this is what puts my keyboard at a little bit more of a interacting with height. With those recent gets from estate sales, I have added a thing to the box. Because for the longest time, the box was empty. But now, well, basically what happened is I made the first aid kit based off the stuff I got from, because like you open it up and you got all sorts of bandages and gauze and all sorts of good stuff. So I was thinking like, what's the best place for me to stick this first aid kit in a place that's accessible, but also some place where I can't get like an ungodly amount of sawdust on? And the answer came down to right on top of my workbench inside the keyboard box. And that's where I keep my first aid kit. And it's labeled. It's labeled for good reason. And the reason it's labeled is there might occasionally come a time where there's people around here and I am injured in such a way where I cannot see to my own medical needs. Well, it is labeled. That's where people can find the first aid kit. Should I need one? Okay. Let's start pulling Salsa out. Woo! Steamy. Now, once these jars cool See how it makes a... Ooh! It was making a popping noise, and then it didn't. That's how you know your salsa's good. You can also open it with one hand, just yeet it onto the floor. But yeah. I do like that though. I do like how as you touch it, as it cools, you can't hear it like make pop noises, which is good. Well, I don't want to yeet my first aid kit onto the floor because then I have to get onto the floor to grab my first aid kit. That's an undesirable outcome. But yeah. And there we go. One round of salsa. Cooked and canned and ready to go. That one makes pops. That one doesn't. That one doesn't. And then it stopped. But yeah. So I'm gonna let these sit out, cool down. Once they cool down, I'll take the... It's like, yeah. Well, that's also how you know... That's how you know you've done a good job with your cans, is when it cools down and you don't have pop, you know, that's how you know you have an airtight seal. That's kind of the reason why I was pointing that out, is you want to make sure you have an airtight seal on your lids, because that means your goodies inside are going to stay good. And they're going to be like, continue to be like goodies rather than stuff that makes you sick. Because no one wants to get botulism around here. This is an anti-botulism place. So yeah, that means all these have a good, nice air seal. It's good. And then eventually I'm going to Sharpie mark them with the year. The great year of 2025. Which... I don't know how good of a year this is going to be at the end of the day. Or the end of the year. I would say for the most part it's been a pretty good year, but... I don't know. I mean, it's been pretty good for the most part. It just hasn't been like... I would say it hasn't been anything spectacular. I feel like that's a pretty good way to describe 2025 so far. It's like, it's pretty alright, but it's like, it's nothing special either. So, yeah. Let's see here. I have been going for nearly 2.5 hours now. So that's a pretty good amount of time. So, Salsa vintage year, probably pretty good. Oh dear God. So I actually have some salsa that my mom made, and for those not in the know, my mom's been dead for a very long time. So I actually have 3 jars of salsa from 2006. And I'm honestly at the point of... Well, honestly, what I think I would do, if I crack any of them open, I will give them a tasting, and I probably will not be impressed by their contents of the jar, and then proceed to throw the rest of the jar into the compost, is how I am currently envisioning how that will go. But I also do label the jars, so that way I can keep track of what jars are from what year. Because right now I'm sitting on 6 jars of last year's salsa, which, oh geez, vintage salsa, that's something. Yeah. Yep. That's some of the stuff I've got lying around, and it's like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get botulism from it, but also it's like, will I get something else? I don't know. So, I still have more salsa to can, but I'll probably be doing that off stream, just because it's like, hey, here is salsa from making to canning to canned out. And since I only have a limited throughput on my canning, I think I'll do the rest of the canning off stream. Granted, I probably only need to do like one more batch. So, yeah. I gotta say, pretty good day. Very glad that I pre-cut all my onions and peppers because, yeah, last year I nearly spent 2 hours just cutting onions and peppers. So, didn't lose too much time to that today because I prepped. So yeah, advanced prep. It works. It's good stuff. So yeah. So, we're going to be winding things down for today. And I'm also going to be winding things down for today because, well, I'm streaming tomorrow. And I'm also trying to stream tomorrow morning. I'm trying to be a little bit on the earlier side. I noticed when I was looking through my live views on the analytics tab of the silly YouTube thingamajig, I got a lot of viewers really early in the morning. Now, I can't stream at that. I mean, I could, but it's a little too early. But I'm going to try to be, so for tomorrow morning's Sunday morning woodworking, I'm going to try to start it an hour later than what I normally do. So at 9:30 tomorrow, I'm going to be starting the pallet wood build, which is a build I've been wanting to do for a while. But it has taken me a long amount of time to just figure out what I want to make out of a pallet, which I'll be making apple crates because I want to make cider. And I need to gather apples, have a bunch of apples to make cider. I have found reasonably local orchard to me, and I will be visiting that orchard sometime in the month of October to collect apples to make cider. So it is now time to build some apple crates to hold all those apples I wish to collect. So I'll be doing that tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time? No, it's Eastern Daylight Time. EDT is what it is. So, let's see. That's going to be next stream. Is there anything else? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So, cheers. So yeah, that's next stream tomorrow. Pretty early in the morning. Should be a fun time. Oh yeah, that's also the other additional detail that should probably tell my number one chatter right now. I need to actually write some rules on Sharpie marker. But one of my game plans for this apple crate build is to build it with exclusively hand tools. No motorized tools, which makes me very sad because I really don't like losing access to my drill. Which, as far as the various plannings that I was going into when I was considering the build, was like, okay, I can do that, I can saw the wood, I can break the pallets apart with hand tools, easy stuff. If I need to plane them down, I have hand planes for that, can do. And then it's like fasteners. I have to nail fasten, and I don't like nail fastening, so I'm I'm not sure if I'll get far enough along in the build to get to nail fastening, but hey, once I get to that point, you guys get to see me being very awkward and the fact I can't aim a hammer to save my life. So, look forward to that. But yeah, this is enough long-winded ramblings. Better have a good stretch first. I mean, I certainly do wish to have a good stretch first. It's gonna be. I mean, I'm gonna have a lot of fun. My main plan for tomorrow is because I have 2 pallets to break down. I want to get both pallets broken down and get the wood cut up into the pieces I wanted, and maybe get a little bit of the hand planing done. That's my main goal for tomorrow. At least get to that point. Not entirely sure if I'll get to actually like putting things together, but we'll see about that. But yeah. So, thank you for joining me today. We've made and canned, well, we've canned 7 jars of salsa. I have more salsa that needs to be canned. I'm going to do that off stream because, well, I'm pretty sure you people do not wish to watch glass jars boil in a batch of water. Neither will I, but hey, you know what? I have distraction beer for that. So, with all this, I would like to say, my name's Sugi Yamagawa. Thank you very much for tuning in today, and I hope everyone out there has a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you're at, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.